everyone, and welcome to the Geek Branch podcast. As you know, I am the host, Tim, and these are my co-hosts, Dane and Cussler. Matt is unfortunately sick. We hope he gets to feeling better. With Devontae's work schedule, he can only come every other week, so you should see him next week. And this segment is going to be Branch Wars. So I'm going to be doing two topics. The first topic will be basically a speculation topic. With the recent Witcher TV show coming around, there's a lot of people that are focusing on all things Witcher related. Fantastic show, by the way. I'll probably do a review topic probably next week after the rest of the guys finish it out. So that way they'll know what I'm talking about without spoiling anything.
Yep, haven't caught it yet.
Yeah, same with Dane. So I didn't want to ruin anything for y'all. And then, so what the topic actually is going to be is my speculation is that for the next Witcher game and the video game series, that it will use the new Red engine that they've been using for Cyberpunk 2077. And with that engine, they will essentially use assets from Cyberpunk 2077 to make a open world game that's much more similar in the vein of Cyberpunk, to where there's a lot more choices. While the Witcher games in general, especially Witcher 3, is a huge open world adventure, it is set to one person. You play as Geralt. And so I believe you will create your own character in the Witcher world. I believe that's going to be one of the games. They'll probably also make a game where you play as Ciri, because that's obviously how they left things off with the last Witcher game. And then also my other topic is some of the most influential video games for the past decade. Since we're nearing 2020, a lot of people are talking about their favorite video games, their favorite anime, their favorite anything in general from the past decade. So we felt like it was fitting for us to talk about it and give our take. All right. So as I was saying earlier about the Witcher series, I mean, basically, it seems like one of the logical choices for CD Projekt Red after the years that they've been putting to make the new Cyberpunk game. One would assume that they would use those assets to create a more diverse open world for Witcher. That would make it to where they could continue in that world without having to be set on the linear path that was Geralt's story, because they've already said they're done with Geralt. Geralt's story is done, especially after the Wild Hunt. Everything that Geralt could do has been finished. So for a linear storyline, linear for CD Projekt Red anyways, would be Ciri. So I believe they're going to take a break from that and go in a new direction for the Witcher world, because they do have two teams that work on two separate IPs. They have officially announced a couple of months back that they will constantly have a team that is working on Cyberpunk related content and on Witcher related content. And they said that they were wanting to take a break away from the Geralt and Ciri storyline. So I feel like this is the most logical step. So what do you think about it, Dane?
Well, I mean, I'm always happy to see CD Projekt Red producing new content in the Witcher universe, especially because obviously we're going to get the full story of Geralt in about every form that we can, either via games, the new Netflix series, or reading the books originally. So going into that universe and having access to an open world, especially with character creation in the vein of the complex and detailed system that we're going to be getting with Cyberpunk, is going to open up a lot of windows for replayability as well as just general enjoyment. I mean, imagine something like the Wild Hunt with all that content, all that side quest, and then with the ability to role play a new character, build out his personality, and have all of those choices in addition to that content, and then being able to just play it all again as a different type of character. You know, it should be everything that the Mass Effect series was supposed to be.
It would be like a Divinity Original Sin game that's not top down, you know?
Sort of. I would, going by what I played more, it makes me more think of Skyrim.
Yeah, it'd be more in the vein of Skyrim, where you make your own character.
Yeah, make your own character, go through the land, go through Skyrim, and do all the different side quests. You can. There's a crap ton of side quests. I'm not going to name any, but
yeah, there's a whole bunch with Skyrim.
Yeah.
So I feel like this would be their opportunity to make their Elder Scrolls game.
Yeah.
Because
But
while The Witcher is huge and open, you're playing Geralt. It's his story. At
Yeah.
the end of the day, it's not the player making their own story.
Right.
and the most important decisions are always going to be in line with Geralt's character rather than actually being your decisions. for
Right.
him,
You'll
you know?
never stray too far away from what Geralt would do.
Yeah. I mean, you'll have some flexibility as a player because it's an RPG and they want you to have choices.
He's essentially he is a Witcher. He is a knight of the people.
Yeah.
And so he's not going to go do something sinister. You're not going to be able to go kill random civilians and stuff like that as him.
Right. But some other Witcher might.
Yeah, but exactly. And that was another thing I was thinking about. So in the Witcher world, there's more than just playing a Witcher. You could be a sorceress. You could be there's a bunch of other like mercenaries and different things in the world of Witcher, to where if they build it like the system in Cyberpunk where you don't have to stay, well, I take that back, because you kind of, there's lines that you can't draw in the Witcher world like you can in Cyberpunk. Either if you're a Witcher, you're a Witcher. Someone can't be half a Witcher, you know what I mean?
Well, I mean,
You can't blur the lines as much.
Yeah, but that's like saying, do you have cybernetics in Cyberpunk? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I guess that's true.
I mean, because technically,
Because at the end of the day, it's a mutation.
right, it's a something that you can choose. So,
Well, that ain't something you can choose in the Witcher world.
well, I mean,
I
in
know
the
what you mean. You're talking
RPG,
about, I know what you're talking about.
So it could be something that you can choose during character creation to turn your character into a Witcher, or to
I think that would make so many different like character storyline options. I feel like that game would be so massive. Because just think, if someone chooses to be a Witcher, there's so many different like player options and storylines you would go down versus whether you would decide to go be a mage.
Right.
Because the training and the people you interact with is so totally different between the two
Right.
until they're done with training.
and even if they only do like 3 classes,
I would assume
Witcher-
only 3.
Yeah, Witcher, Mage, Knight.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's infinite amounts of content because Witchers, like I said, aren't just Witchers. They're alchemists, warriors, mentors. You know, there's tons of things that a Witcher does besides just go out
And then like
stab a
the
monster.
knights could be like from different kingdoms. Like the most hated kingdom, of course, is Nilfgaard. You could have somebody from Nilfgaard, or you could have someone from, all the other famous kingdoms.
Right, with their own subsets of skills and
Yeah.
the things that make them
And connections that they have.
Right. And it kind of ends up being kind of like a rock, paper, scissors situations where, Witchers might be really good against witches and, knights
The
might-
monsters.
Well,
Yeah,
that actually leads me into my point with it. Granted, not everything should be, but it does lead itself to being a good multiplayer game as well, because then you can build a party with your friends. If you're a Witcher, somebody else is a mage,
Yeah, that would
somebody
be
else is a
fun.
knight. You could actually go on adventures like. For the MMO aspect, you could do dungeons and raids and stuff like that as a party like that.
CD Projekt Red has said that they're looking towards making more multiplayer focused games.
Yeah, so I mean, it lends itself to it.
Yeah, they said that at some point or another there will be a Cyberpunk multiplayer game, whether it's an expansion to Cyberpunk 2077 or a standalone thing on its own.
Yeah.
So I could see them totally looking at that for Witcher 2.
Mhm.
They totally do like what was that, Dragon Age? Even though that's not a very good game, but Dragon Age Inquisition did that. You could go. I mean, I'm not crazy about Elder Scrolls Online, but there's Elder Scrolls Online, and we obviously don't want it to be anything like Fallout 76. But that's another recent multiplayer open world game.
I think taking Divinity's
Because it has multiplayer co-op.
Divinity's overall
party system.
Party system and gameplay elements, for the most part, with the exception of being Witcher would be more third person, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, Divinity is a CRPG. We don't want to go that hard.
Right.
No. But what he's saying is the way the whole multiplayer works.
Storytelling and their multiplayer, take all that, like how. So
they're like the choice system.
Yeah, like how Divinity.
I think they have the best template.
Like how Divinity has it to where on the prison island, if you're certain characters, other NPCs will not talk to you because you're that character, or you can only talk to these characters if you're a certain character. Like take that kind of thing. Like
your characters actually do affect the world when you make
right.
certain choices.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many options that they can look for, and we could always hope that they combine the best of both worlds. You know what I'm saying?
I agree with him though. What the best template that they could look at 4 if they were to go to that direction, even if it was a single player game, which I think that they would probably look towards doing co-op
Yeah.
if they do plan on going this route, would be following Divinity's template. I mean,
so-
Larian Studios has really done a spectacular job with building their party system and their
I thought about another one.
the world.
Dragon Age Origins actually. I think Dragon Age Origins would be also a good template to take off of, at least for gameplay wise.
Not Inquisition. That one
Yeah,
was
no.
terrible.
Well, Origins is just hands down still one of the best RPGs that was ever
Yeah, it
made,
was-
so
That one should definitely belong in the
greatest of all time.
yeah, but I was gonna say decade, but I don't know when Dragon Age Origins came out. Let me look real quick.
2000s. It's 2000s.
It's
not-
older,
Yeah, it's not
yeah.
2010s.
Yeah, because I had to look. 2009, just like Uncharted 2, because I was like, I love Uncharted 2 so much. Let me see what year it came out. And I was like 2009. Well,
Yeah.
whatever. Oh well.
It's in the 2000s because you can tell by the graphics.
Yeah, because it was Xbox 360 days,
Mm-hmm.
getting closer to the tail end of it. Yeah. So I don't know if they're actually planning to go this route, but if they're watching or listening, I really hope that.
I mean, whoever sent you that statue.
Yeah, I
right?
mean, obviously there's some sort of CD Projekt Red worker that likes our show. So I mean,
Take a solid suggestion. There are plenty of things you can just lightly steal from. Just reach over and take a piece,
yeah, we're not going to complain because we will play it.
and we will buy it. Obviously.
Yes, obviously.
Well, we're gonna buy it regardless. But what we're hoping is that some of these things make it in.
Yeah, I don't foresee CD Projekt Red becoming a Bethesda.
Yeah.
I think when they finally make their multiplayer game, it's going to be a beautiful, fun game that like people from our generation, like I feel like a lot of games now are missing what we used to love about multiplayer games, and I feel like they'll be able to recapture that magic.
I would hope so.
Yeah. I mean, I know there's still multiplayer games you enjoy, like Final Fantasy 14
Well, yeah,
and
but
stuff like
that's a different
different type of multiplayer.
Yeah, that's a different thing.
Well,
Yeah.
in that game, cooperation is inherent. So,
Yeah.
like, what I would like to see is that Cyberpunk goes the Gears of War route, where you have a strong central storyline, and then the ability.
What are you talking about, the multiplayer?
No, well, what I'm saying is in Gears of War, right? Gears of War's multiplayer has always been here's a single player campaign that's really freaking great, which
Yeah.
is what we're going to get. And then behind that is a really cool competitive multiplayer using all the things in the game.
Yeah.
So
yeah. I don't think they'll go that route though.
I think that they should go
They could do turf
cooperative.
wars. They could do.
That's what I'm saying. I
yeah.
think they should do cooperative with the Witcher series.
Yeah. And you think
With-
turf wars for.
In like a because there's shooting aspects.
They could
in
totally do
Cyberpunk.
like a tournament type thing.
Just don't turn
system.
into a battle royale.
No, I don't
Please
think they would
don't.
do that. I think if they were to go the route
no
you're
one in the-
talking, I could see them do turf wars and something like we mentioned before, like they did with Battle Angel, where you got this type of like sport that everybody enjoys. They could they could
Or I
have a s-
mean, like the Mass Effect 3 multiplayer.
oh my gosh, that was one of my favorite multiplayer modes ever.
You see what I'm saying?
And it was so underplayed too.
all I'm saying is
I
like
played that nonstop.
we could like hack into other people's cybernetics just like you can in the
Yes.
game. You could pick up weapons in the environment just like in the game. You can use all your.
It was a
you know,
wave system and multiplayer system. Not every wave multiplayer experience is fun.
Yeah,
right,
yeah.
but I'm saying that like if they take like PvP from Gears of War and cooperative from Mass Effect 3 and like a bunch of other like cool type of competitive multiplayer modes.
Aspects, yeah.
Yeah, and stick that as DLC in the Cyberpunk.
That'd be cool.
You can have my $30, and then for The Witcher, go ahead and aim for a Divinity Original Sin or a Dragon Age Origin style co-op RPG experience, and then we'll have the best of both worlds across two series because
Right.
it's PvP in The Witcher is going to be hard.
Yeah.
They could do a story that's not on the continent.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's a whole world that they could pull from, obviously.
Right. But
so.
the primary focus has always been on the continent. So
I mean, but that's fair though. That's where the majority of our Witchers are. You know?
well, I know that, but I'm just saying that it would be interesting if they went to an area that hasn't been really talked about. So that way, then it's an open a blank page for them to create their own thing without them really messing with the Witcher lore too much.
I mean, sure if they want to be that ambitious, but I'm like,
Well,
maybe-
CD Projekt Red is pretty ambitious.
I mean, doing your own IP from the ground up is always a hard thing,
Yeah.
and they're working on a lot of other projects. So I really don't know if that's what they should be aiming
Well,
for
they got
at
their
this
own
moment.
separate team working on just Witcher content. They've
Right,
expanded their studio so much.
but when we say Witcher content, it's just not one Witcher game. It's going to be other things in the
Right.
Witcher world too. So I'm like, creating your own IP is a really big thing.
Speaking of that, a lot of people have forgotten about this in the news. But when they did announce that they were going to make their studio a 2 IP studio, they said that there will be another game from them coming out in 2021. So we're getting Cyberpunk 2077 in 2020, and we're getting another game of theirs in 2021.
Which might be a new IP that we could play around with, but I don't know.
Well, then no, they said it's the only IPs they're making are just for the Witcher world and for the Cyberpunk world.
Then we might get like
Like what we're
Cyberpunk's
thinking.
version of like Thronebreaker or something like that.
Yeah, it could be
something
that.
small.
It could be well, I hope it's not that, but
What, Thronebreaker was good.
I know, but I'm just saying I want more than just a card game.
I mean, but you're asking for a lot here. If they're going to be a 2 IP system and they're already functionally working on 2 full-time RPGs.
Well, what could be other thing could be the multiplayer mode that they were talking about for Cyberpunk.
Yeah, but
I take that back though, because they said they're only focusing on the solo player thing for the Cyberpunk team, so they wouldn't be working on that right now.
Right, and it wouldn't be considered a separate game, I wouldn't think.
Yeah.
Well, they could surprise us. You never know. I mean, yeah, they would probably call it an expansion though, because that's CD Projekt Red. I mean, their expansions were
fair.
essentially a game of its own.
Right.
But I'm saying is that's who they are. They wouldn't be the type to be like, oh, we release Cyberpunk X edition, which is just pure multiplayer. No, they're not that company. You know what I'm saying?
that's not them at all. That would throw some red flags to say the least.
Yeah. So I don't think it's going to be that. I'm thinking that it's probably going to be something like Thronebreaker, and not that it's going to be a card game. That it's going to be a smaller spin-off series.
I think it's going to be a Witcher game. I don't think it's going to
I
be.
think that's way too soon, dude. I'd give it another year before we get another Witcher game.
Witcher 3. When did it come out?
At least 4 years ago.
Yeah, it's actually been a while.
Well, I mean, I guess.
I say at least 4 years ago because I remember selling it at Game Exchange 4 years ago.
Well, all I'm saying is like,
It came out in 2015. So next year will be 5 years. So by the time it's 2021, it'll be 6 years. That's enough time for a new game because they have a separate team for each IP. Like they have
for their style of massive solo RPG.
But they said that they're trying to make it to where they can make their games quicker than once every 10 years.
All right, so yeah. And they just started that project. I'd give it like 6 years, not 5. I don't if they do, I'd be surprised.
But 2021 would be 6 years.
Yeah, I guess. But like
I guess we'll just have to see.
I don't see it. Just because of the amount of effort it takes for them. Every Witcher game has been a significant change.
Yeah. I mean, Witcher 1 is obviously the weakest link. I mean, but that was like their very first game.
Well, you don't
and they
judge
put
it
themselves in debt when they were making it.
Yeah, but you don't judge it like that either because it's a completely different style of game.
Yeah, it was. I haven't played it in a while, but you trying to play that on the controller, good luck.
Well, it was
a PC
hack
game.
It was a really like almost rhythmic hack and slash action RPG.
Yeah,
and that's the first one. The second one has everything changed.
Yeah,
graphics.
That's when it
style.
finally starts going towards what the most popular one, Witcher 3.
Right. When you get to Witcher 3, though, not only did they keep all the good aspects of Witcher 2, but then they added a ton of stuff and then expanded the world and then did all of this stuff. And they have to script and code and write and animate and all of that stuff. I'm telling you, dude, this game doesn't come out fast. I mean, I don't, especially because they worked on the WoW Hunt just recently. And the WoW Hunt's a game in and of itself. I don't think
the Wild Hunt was almost 5 years ago.
I still don't think, I don't think it's happening in 2020.
Because they had a separate team working on the Nintendo Switch port. Although they did watch them very closely. I do give props to CD Projekt Red making sure that port was as smooth as butter. Yeah. Because they said the original port was like 15 frames a second.
Oh God,
it was really bad.
Dude, don't even get us started on how bad ports have been
on the Switch.
Well, just period. Ports.
Oh my gosh,
bad.
There was
ports to PC, ports to Switch.
There was a wrestling game that went to the Switch that looked like a Sega Genesis game.
There were Dane said you had trouble with the Digimon game being ported to the PC.
Because it works just fine on the Switch, but that's because they kept it like a console game.
Well, yeah, but see, the problem is that
on
when
PC.
when Cyber Sleuth came to PC, It's just a hard port.
Yeah, that's all it was.
So they didn't even rebind the keys for PC. So I'm like, I can't even figure out how to.
He had to borrow one of my controllers.
Yeah, right. I couldn't even figure out how to sprint. I'm just like, look, all right, cool. I'm gonna refund me Steam.
I gave him my Steam Link controller. I was like, here, just keep it.
Right, because I refunded that game.
You can get a Steam Link controller for like $1.
Even with that controller though, it still didn't play right. So
No.
I'm just like, I refunded it, bought it on Switch, and I'm just like, all right, cool.
Yeah, it was much better on Switch.
Oh, completely.
But so this whole topic, like the beginning part, not when we got off topic, but all speculation. I don't have any sort of insider information. This is just me looking at what's been presented to us and what route I see them taking.
Yeah.
So just take it with a grain of salt. It's just a group of friends talking and gushing over the possibility of a great game being made for the world of Witcher again.
All right, we're just fans speculating, but more importantly, it's cool that you would think that we're insiders. And if there is a CD Projekt Red fellow who would like to make us insiders, we're your guy.
Yeah. Just we won't ever say your name. Obviously, we know how the game works. Just contact us
anytime you want to just drop a rumor, man. We're your guy. I tell you.
But Nintendo, you can stay away from us because I don't want to get sued.
Yeah, no, we're fine.
Yeah, no, we're good on that. All the other companies, y'all are good. No Nintendo and no Pokemon, because Pokemon's something else. They really sue their folks.
Also, that's Game Freak, I guess.
Yeah, Game Freak.
And no EA, just on principle.
Yeah, on principle. But so this was just a little quick topic to warm things up. We'll be back with you. We'll talk about the top 10 most influential games of the next decade. Of the previous decade. And, this decade. One of those decades. I can't tell you what the next decade's top 10 games are because I'm not from the future.
Final Fantasy VII remake.
Yeah, that's what he'll say. Anyways, thank
Cyberpunk,
you for, yes, that is going to be number one. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Most of all, as I always say, thank you for letting us get to the root of our geek culture with you.